Good afternoon. My name is David Miller from the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at George Mason University's School of Business. It's 2 p.m. on Monday, March 23rd, 2020. We are back into our business at George Mason University. Our classes are beginning today anew for a vast majority of our programs. Some programs had their own calendars. They've already been going on. For most of the campuses, for most of the programs, we're back today from an extended spring break. So today's discussion is on the business of well-being. It's a topic we've been working on at the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship for a couple of years now. We actually have a Ventures for Wellbeing pitch competition coming up. The deadline actually is at the end of this week, and you can go to Startup Mason or the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship's Facebook page or website, and someone will post something in the comments, I'm sure, with some links to apply to that program. It's actually focused on well-being and the business of well-being. So it is a business competition like you see at a lot of universities, like a Shark Tank with 2 rounds, but it's focused on the business of well-being, and that's what we're here today. It's a workshop on the business of well-being. We've done a number of these already this semester. We're now, I believe, in week 7 or 8 of the semester. You'll have to forgive me. Like a lot of people, the extended spring break and move to online has changed my mindset a bit in terms of calendar and where we are, but the purpose is still the same. The purpose is still to give young innovators, entrepreneurs at George Mason University the opportunity to focus on learning about innovation and entrepreneurship. So today we focus on well-being in our case. Now, what is well-being? First of all, when it comes to the business side, and that's why we're looking at it, the business of well-being is worth over $4.5 trillion. That's massive. And what, again, is it? Well, there are organizations, their products, their services whose goal is to improve the well-being of individuals, organizations, or vast segments of society. Well-being is building a life of vitality, purpose, resilience, and engagement. Those are all really important things. Vitality, purpose, resilience, and engagement. By the way, that definition comes from our colleagues at the Center for the Advancement of Wellbeing at George Mason University. They've been at this a long time. It's a really important definition. And by the way, that third word in that definition, resilience, building a life of vitality, purpose, resilience, and engagement, really we'll use that today to highlight, given the context of the world we're in today, we're not going to deny that. There's a reason this workshop is online. So well-being probably matters even more, or at least we might be able to understand it better in today's world. So it's those things, building a life of purpose, vitality, purpose, resilience, and engagement. And it runs across the gamut of your life. It's 6 areas are what we've chosen to focus on. Different people focus on different things. Excuse me, I'm going to be getting messages on the phone, I guess, periodically. So your emotional, spiritual well-being, that's one area, right? Your place-based well-being, where you live, your neighborhood, your office, your workspace, does it nourish you and strengthen you? Does it make you happy? Are you happy to get home? Are you happy to get to work? Or does it drain you? Is it to this or to that? You don't feel comfortable at work. You actually may feel uncomfortable. You don't have privacy, or whatever the case may be. There's financial well-being. There's occupational well-being. Does what you do for a living challenge you and motivate you intrinsically? Do you feel like you're working on important things? Do you like your colleagues? Your physical well-being. This is one that most people think about. Are you healthy? Are you eating well? That's an important one. And then your social. Do you have good connections? Family. Again, may connect to other ones. Your neighborhood, where you live, where you work. Your civic well-being. Is there a sense of pride in your community? And so, as I mentioned, we've been working on this for 2 years. This will be our 2nd year where our pitch competition, our business competition, is focused on ventures that are for well-being. And so hopefully we're going to have some comments here, and we'll see if anybody's written anything yet. But so those are the 6 areas, again, of well-being. And if you just think about them in light of what's gone on globally for the last 3 or 4 months, but in the U.S. the last 2 or 3 weeks, as the virus and the reaction to it is ramped up, how's your emotional or spiritual well-being? Where you are in that right now is probably playing a big role in how you respond to what's happening right now. What about your place-based well-being? That was the second area. Do you have somewhere that you feel safe and secure? You know, I'm fortunate. I have a pretty nice new home office that I can work from, doing things like this for my classes. So my place-based well-being is pretty good. I have somewhere to walk outside if, you know, when I want to get outside, that's safe, you know, and comfortable. So how's your place-based well-being at a time like this? Financial, this one sadly is becoming incredibly obvious. You know, do you have, you know, enough resources if your job stops? I mean, think about what's going on right now. The economic just turns off, and, you know, a lot of people are losing their income. Businesses are losing their revenue, and, you know, do they have the financial well-being? Do they have reserves? Do they have flexible terms with different creditors, for example, whether it's an individual with their credit card company, their student loans, their mortgage, whoever they're paying rent to, the people they owe to? If you're a business, same thing, your suppliers, your landlord, you know, how good is your financial well-being? So at a time like this, we start to see that. So I don't know if people have any questions who are out there about well-being and the business of well-being. Like every other industry, it is undergoing dramatic change right now because of these events. Some of the change will be short-term, some will be long-term. Again, if you pick any of those areas of well-being, there's dramatic change going on right now. So if you have any questions, let us know. We've got some other people maybe who are willing to help moderate. You know, like I said, the center moved to this business of well-being focused just about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and there's a few reasons why. First of all, we saw interest from our students, from our alumni. We see them operating in a lot of businesses that have to do with supporting and improving well-being of individuals, organizations, and segments of society. So we saw that. We saw the market was going that way. Well-being as a business is also pretty broad, as we just discussed, that you know, it runs the range of your emotional and social, to your physical, to your place-based well-being, to financial and occupational. So there's a lot of parts of the economy that well-being hits. There's no question it's the kind of thing that, you know, wealthier economies or middle upper income economies start to think about once they've gone past, you know, job security and food security, even though, you know, today's world we're seeing something totally different that wouldn't expect. So again, it's accessible. You know, people can work on it. There's some industries right now that are really popular that you need certain technical skills for, and well-being has a whole range of things. Some of it's very physical, like we mentioned. You could be a trainer, could be a meditation expert, or it could be really technical. You could write software, create apps that support and improve well-being. Let's say for a large corporation, they need an app that makes sure their employees are, you know, not spending too much time commuting because they're worried about their overall well-being. So someone may create that app that's very technical and based on geo-positioning, and they're tracking their employees to make sure they're not spending too much time in traffic, getting stressed out, being unproductive. So there's a lot of room, and it's really accessible. So that's another reason we like well-being. Again, there's demand, there's market growth. It's accessible to a lot of different parties to engage in that. So that's from our perspective at the center. It also, by the way, as a public university, we wanted to do things that are in line with our region. And we think regionally, that's an area that we will see some growth. It's not always exportable. A lot of times it's very physical, these businesses, but even that is being challenged right now. If you look at things like health clubs and spas, which have a lot to do with personal and physical well-being, self-care, all those things, emotional well-being, social well-being, those are all being challenged right now. So that's, again, why we think it's an important area. By the way, globally, it's been growing for years and years. You know, we're not the first people to point this out. There's a lot of trade organizations that look at the wellness or well-being economy. There's a lot of companies we've seen grow out of it. In particular, I track one of them in the physical and now more even the emotional and social well-being space, Peloton. They've grown a lot, but it goes back further than Peloton, which has been around since 2012. And why? Why do people care more about well-being globally? And there are some big trends behind it, right? Not just the ones I mentioned at our decision at George Mason, but globally, first of all, the world's population is getting older, right? And so the question of getting older has led them to think, well, how can we improve the quality of life, or at least keep it where it is and not see declines in quality of life? So trying to figure out how you can improve well-being, whether it's loneliness or mental health for this aging population, or physical well-being. That's one of the reasons we see growth is a aging population globally. Also, we talked about place-based well-being. Again, I'm getting a little motion sensor that something's going on outside. I'll hope that it's all okay. But place-based well-being, the environmental crisis, which has taken on a big place in the policy world, the social world, even I would say, pop culture world. We just see a question coming up, so we'll try and answer that in a minute. But really quickly, let me just finish this thought that people were worried about place. So well-being became a way to answer, why do we have pollution? Why is our food maybe not as healthy as it could be? And people wanted to know that. So well-being became something that people focused on. Health systems, we're seeing them under stress right now, really with this current crisis. But health systems in the West, at least, have not been humming along, if you will, whether it's the debate over Obamacare or the current debate on the Democratic side as they go through the primary. But our healthcare systems have been challenged for years, so well-being, again, was one of the concepts that's brought up to try and figure that out. And then overall, our values have changed. Society's values have changed about what's important to them, work-life balance, right? Things like that. A green space and flowers and pretty buildings and, right, somewhere to walk. It's not just car-based, right? Those things, those expectations of members of society have changed. So those are some of the bigger themes of why we've seen a move to, a wellness or well-being economy. So there's a question someone asking, which is really great, is whether their company should provide resources to students at a needy time like this. How can they do so? If that's something that they want to do. I'm trying to expand that window. It's not letting me. I'm not, I don't have the answer to that directly. So much is up in the air right now. We do, one of the programs at the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship works with students who are food insecure, but there's a range of needs that students may have right now. I'm not sure who exactly can answer that question, but I would have someone in our chat take a peek at that, and I'm sure they're there, so we appreciate you asking. But again, that has to do with, right, your community well-being, or what we call your social well-being, and we're seeing a lot of that right now in this crisis. In my neighborhood in particular, not just one of hundreds of thousands of examples where there's been a listserv for years, and it's actually pretty active. But at a time like this, there's a range of things going on. There's people checking on the older neighborhood members of the neighborhood who shouldn't be going out, and whether they have the right food. I saw one of them getting a big pea pot order this morning. There's also people doing things, and I've seen this all over the place. They're putting rainbows in their windows, and they're calling it a rainbow hunt, so the kids who are going out for a walk or walking their dogs at least have something to look at. And I guess they move the position of the rainbow each day so the kids at least have something to look at. And I saw other neighborhoods doing that with teddy bears. So that's an example of social well-being at a time like this. And what you realize is, when you look at, again, I'm going back into this topic versus today's world, where are you in these areas of well-being? And that may give you some insights as to how you're going to get through this crisis or any other crisis. That doesn't have to be global in nature. It could be personal. And again, that's usually, I think, a lot of the reasons people get interested in well-being in the first place is just individually or for their family or their local community. But you see societally, how much well-being do we have? And it's being tested right now. Do our political leaders have it at the national, the local, every level? And we'll see. The business of well-being, we'll see if it comes back with a vengeance, if you will, after this, that people are more interested on it. Will people be more interested in focusing on their financial well-being? Will they not have as much credit card debt? Will they be investing more? Will they, who knows? Or will they, go back to whatever the new normal is after this. But that's something we'll watch. But our commitment to well-being as a business is real because it's been growing, as I said, for decades for a whole bunch of reasons. We do have this competition. It's not going to be a physical event like it's been in the past. It's going to be something online. Moreover, I guess I'll disclose it here, it may not be a traditional competition. We've been talking for a number of years of whether competitions are the right programming activity, and they serve a lot of great purposes, and everything from entering them where you have to answer questions about a potential idea, how big is the market, what problem does it really solve, who specifically are the customers, how do they fill that need now, who are your competitors. So those are important things for young innovators and entrepreneurs to learn. But the idea of a competition, a pitch, and all that, one wonders whether that really represents reality. And so we're going to take this opportunity to pivot in a direction we've been planning on for years, or at least a couple of years. We have some great community partners who are interested in helping us make that change. So we will have an entry to this competition, but the output will be different. It'll engage a lot more potential emerging ventures in the well-being space. Just to remind people, this competition is open to students at George Mason University and alumni. Traditionally, it's been open to alumni within the last 5 years, but I think with the pivot, we're going to open it to all alumni to participate in this changing event. There will be no physical event. That sounds like it's university policy. But there will be chances for you to enter, get feedback on your ideas that support well-being in individuals, organizations, or segments of society. There will be a chance for you to network. There will be a chance to show your work. In most cases, like everything right now, it'll probably be some form of video. There will be a community built, and I have no doubt you can build incredibly strong communities online. That is actually one of the reasons why I'm writing a book about Peloton, is because I was blown away by the community that they had built through a digital product. So that's where I'm frankly not that concerned or discouraged by such a heavy move online so quickly, because if you have the right people motivated by the right reasons, you can absolutely build an incredible community online that in some cases may outperform physical communities. But there's a lot of variables in there. But for this community we're building around the business of well-being, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start online. When we get back to near normal, we'll have some hybrid opportunities, but it'll be ongoing. It won't be event-based per se, like the traditional competitions supporting new venture creation and learning. Any other questions, by the way? Because I get paid to work and we're on the clock publicly. I guess I'm joking now that spring break is over, but we can talk about well-being. Again, just a reminder, the application to get involved in this competition and start learning about how to create a business model to increase well-being. That's the first thing. That is online, and someone will post that in the comment. Remember, what is well-being, and really think about it, because as I've said a couple times, it matters more now than ever. The application deadline is this Friday, March 27th. You can see they put the form up. Remember, it matters more. It's building a life of vitality, purpose, resilience, and engagement. All of those things are needed right now, right? All of those things, and they're going to be needed when this is all over. And so that's something to remember. There's different areas of well-being. I got a little piece of paper here that can show you them, but these are on all our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, our website. And it predates what's going on right now. These are important concepts. They're just highlighted right now and illuminated, so we kind of see why they're so important. It's going to keep growing. There's going to be more need for it. There's going to be people who demand it, organizations who demand it, governments who demand it. You can see it going on right now with lots of people. For example, Peloton giving away 90 days of their app. If you want to try them out, even if you don't have a bike or a tread, you can get their app for 90 days. And they're doing it. Calm, which is an app of meditation, they're giving away their app. There's a lot of people in that space who get it, that there's demand for their product right now. So with that, I'll get ready to shut it down. Oh, last thing about well-being, just to highlight again that it's not necessarily new, and it doesn't always play out the way you think. This shirt right here, this beautiful Hawaiian shirt, really colorful, that's a panel on there. That's from one of our alumni, former participant in that pitch competition. It's a company called Pangolins. That's an endangered species. And what John and Pangolins do is they do commerce for conservation, right? So there's an e-commerce company where they source products from around the world, and a certain percentage, maybe 15%, goes to conservation. So that's a company that's worried about what kind of impact that it's improving the well-being of the world, of different places, of different people getting paid properly, fair wages, spreading the wealth. They're sourcing from all over the world. So we do have a question. Do people start thinking about well-being when they have enough resources? In other words, start a business about well-being. And I can't read the rest of it. Do I have to turn this sideways? I wonder if that's the problem, that I'm in, in the wrong mode. Let's see if it changes when I do that. No, it's telling me I got to switch it back. See, I screwed up. Sorry. You know what I'm going to do? I have my laptop here, so maybe that'll tell me. So I'm trying to see if I can find a slide right now to answer that question. Right, it's very, what do you call it, meta, that I'm watching us live while filming it, if I can get it to go up. So many companies have put their services on a discounted and free trial right now. We encourage some. Again, I'm cut off, so I'm glad there's a conversation going on right now. And let's see here. Now I got it. It's going to be, see where we end up. I guess I'm way behind. Just see if I can find the questions. Yeah, this is where you need a partner, or you need to figure out someone to text you what the questions are. There we go. I see the challenge of doing this. I haven't done this before. Getting there. Here we go. All right. Do people start thinking about well-being when they have enough resources? In other words, if I start a business about well-being, how can I focus on needy people? Well, sadly, well-being, everybody needs well-being. It may be true that people who have higher income or greater wealth, have the ability to go after their well-being. But something I've thought quite a bit about on this topic is, just because you have resources doesn't mean you're well. Doesn't mean you have well-being. So even, just to get that out there, that just, people may, Becky just texted me, thank you, Becky, the picture, I finally got it set up right. That's it, and you can, that's the one thing that we've realized, that over the years, a lot of the companies that are doing the most in terms of improving well-being are actually focused on disadvantaged populations or at-risk populations. That's an area that we've seen a lot of innovation and creativity, people creating businesses, to improve others' well-being. Magic Johnson has a long history of economic development. That's just one in distressed communities that gives people job opportunities and other things. I just got a text from a local business telling me that their shops are open and that they want us to come in. People are pushing hard on their businesses right now. Sorry for that quick interruption. So you absolutely can have ventures that make money, that are profitable, that focus on improving the well-being of people who don't have as high income or may not have as much disposable economic resources. So that's a great question. Let's see if there's any other questions. Again, it's just, wow, got a real financial question, frankly, about increasing the book value of a company during a crisis like that. Well, I don't know. That's not what we do, a small business development center. And I guess that'll be, one thing I'd point out, that if you do have a small business operating right now, like the person who just texted me that they're open for auto service and that I should come in, there are a ton of resources right now. We've sent them around to some of our students. We'll post them online on different pages. Everything from the CDC for small businesses to Small Business Administration. I know I was watching CNBC earlier today, and there's all kinds of packages coming out from the federal government, it sounds like, to try and support small businesses. Again, their financial well-being. How much debt do they have? How much cash can they pay their employees who aren't working? Their revenue is drying up. That's a big issue, so we're going to see some government actions on that. And this person asked the question online about those specific issues. It's not necessarily what our center does, but those are important questions. So again, we'll be back here online quite frequently from the center for both the business of well-being. Please take a look at that application. The deadline is this Friday. Put something in. We are going to have incredible opportunities beyond just what we were expecting, which is just 5 opportunities to pitch. There's going to be far more opportunities for innovators, entrepreneurs, students, and alumni interested in the business of well-being. And it'll go beyond that date. The original date, I think, is April 23rd for the public event, and there will be some opportunities that you'll see to present on that date digitally like we're doing right now. But this program will go beyond that date and into the summer regardless of what our calendar is, and will be an ongoing program. We have a community partner who is very interested in the business of well-being and is going to support our center as we go forward. So make use of Facebook. I'm glad to see people are having conversations and other platforms, and we'll see you online very soon. Take care of your own well-being. It's not selfish. It's important for you and all the people around you, those you work with, your schoolmates, your family. So really make sure you're taking care of your own well-being right now. I kind of learned after studying Peloton, I think 2 words are pretty simple: hydrate and move, and that'll start you on the right direction. But thanks a lot. Have a good time out there, and we'll see you soon.